Graph is very easy to understand in economics. What you just need to know is how to apply those graphs with the question you have. I'll bring out a question like that as we continue. The major determinant 2016 question 13, 2023. 2016 question 23. The major determinant of demand. The major determinant for what? For demand. If you want to sell anything, you go to what? A place that have a commercial place whereby they have a lot of people around there. It's one of the major determinants for demand. In fact, it's the major determinant for what? For demand. I see something like option here are incentive of workers. This incentive of worker is only applicable to what? Location of what? Industry. Location of what? Industry. Level of technology, that's another option. Population, another option. Cost of production is another option. This cost of production and incentive to work, incentive to work is not even part of it. It's not even part of it. Cost of production is for, location of industry. Incentive to worker is for what? It's mostly on supply or labor. Understand? So population is a very big thing to consider to determine what? Demand. Another question. Are we there? Question 1983, question 48. 1983, question 48. Demand for a factor of production. In fact, I've done this one before also. Anything you're talking about, demand for a factor of production has nothing to do as what? As it's called derived demand. You don't need to waste your time. There's some question in economics, you will see them, you will spend up to 10 seconds. Demand for factor of production is what? Derived demand. I see another question here. It's also under income elasticity of what? Of demand. 1982, question 36. If income rises from 200 to 250 and the amount spent on good Y, good X falls from 30 naira to 28 naira, then good X is, even without giving you the option, income increase from 200 naira to 250. The money you spend on a particular good, let me say on Gary. I'm sorry, Gary I'm not saying Gary is a poor man food though. I'm sorry. But I'm using Gary as an example. Please, Gary is not a poor man food. I like Gary a lot. From 30 naira to 28 naira, automatically, nobody should tell you that this particular good is a what? Inferior good. The option here we have what? An income elasticity of income elastic good, normal good, an inferior good, demand elastic, and supply elastic. So the answer is what? An inferior good. Another question. 1987, question 19. The question says, for normal goods, The income elasticity of demand is for normal goods. I think I did something the other time. So you have, and I told you about a particular good, whereby when income increases, demand also increase. Some, when income increases, it is just that constant. And while some, if income increases, it will what? Reduce. But for normal goods, the income elasticity of demand, the answer is what? Is positive. The answer is what? Is positive. For income elasticity of demand, when in the normal goods, for normal goods, the income elasticity of demand for normal goods is what? Is positive. Let's check another question. 1989, question 12. Is how the question looks like. And it's what? A demand curve. When you have a curve like this in economics and they ask you to do the demand curve, have it in mind, it is called what? An exceptional what? Demand. It's also called an abnormal what? Abnormal demand. But look at the question, the way JAMB asks about this. If the curve above shows the relationship between the price of commodity X and the quantity demanded of commodity Y, then X and Y are option A, complementary goods, option B, supposed to be substitute. What I put there is supposed to be substitute, but there's a mistake in the past question. It's supposed to be substitute. Option C, inferior goods, and option D, we have luxury goods. If the above shows the relationship between the price and what? Price of commodity X and price of commodity X and the quantity demand of commodity Y, then X and Y are option A, complementary goods, option B, substitute goods, option C, inferior goods, and option D, luxury. That's the question. Automatically, for price of X, to determine the quantity of demand of Y, definitely the goods is what? Is a substitute what? Goods. The goods is what? Substitute good. Now let me give out like two more examples from demand before we go to another topic. Derived demand, that was 2006 45. 2006 45. Derived demand is normally used with reference to option A, superior goods, option B, the cost of production Option C, the factors of what? Production. And option D, inferior goods. Derived demand. I told you, for this question, derived demand is basically talking about what? Employment of labor is also what? A derived demand. And when can you come across the employment of labor? In the what? Factors of what? Production. Now let me give you one more question. I want the question to look more complex. I need a complex question so that you can solve question for yourself in the past question. Look at the question on the board. 2010, question 10. We have, so 2010, question 9, sorry. Question 9, okay, don't worry. We solve the 9 and we also solve the what? 10. We solve the 2. If the price of a commodity with elastic demand increases, the revenue acquiring to the producer will, option A, double. Option B, be constant. Option C, increases. Option D, decreases. Let me explain the question for you. If the commodity with elastic demand, let me first show you what the elastic demand is. When I was giving you a call the other time, I told you this is what? Elastic demand. I told you when slight change in price will lead to what? Big change in what? Big change in what? Quantity. Just have it in mind. Now, if the commodity with elastic demand increase, the revenue acquiring to the producer will, can you guys see? Automatically, the difference here, commodity and this one, small change in price, light change in quantity. If the commodity with elastic demand increase, the revenue acquiring to the producer automatically, because this is what will happen. Look at it here. If this one here increases to this point, the difference of what have happened here, you understand what I'm saying, will make the consumer, the producer to what? It will decrease his what? The revenue of the producer will surely what? Decrease. And the next one, which is the same year, question 10. Question 10, we have an excess demand for beans will result from an excess demand for beans will result from an increase in the price of beans, a decrease in the price of beans, an increase in supply of beans, a decrease in the supply of beans. Let's understand the question before we solve it. and excess demand. And what? Excess demand. Let me show you what excess demand is on the board. This is equilibrium point. Let me give it, let me say 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30. I'm only giving this as an illustration. And excess demand for beans. This is the demand curve here. And this is the supply curve here. Let's assume that demand is at 20, quantity at 20. If excess demand now goes to what? If there's excess demand, okay, if automatically, if there's excess demand, it means that the price has what? Fall. You understand what I'm saying? This is price at equilibrium. If there's excess demand, and excess demand for beans will result from what can cause excess demand. Automatically, the price is 29 before. Come to 10. Look at the graph here. Excess of demand. Because this end is excess supply. What this one is what? Excess what? Demand. What has happened that made the excess of the demand? Let's now go to the option. An increase in the price of beans. If there's an increase, will it be excess demand? No. Are you guessing that? If there's an increase in the price of beans, it will have called reduction in demand and increase in what? Supply. It means that option A is what? Wrong. A decrease in the price of beans. A decrease in the price of beans. Let's see. Wait. An increase in the supply of beans. What will make supply of beans to increase? Definitely the price has also what? Increased. No. A decrease in the supply of beans. If there's a decrease in the supply of beans, automatically what will happen? So if this one comes down, demand will what? Go up. And price will have high for the have the what? This. Understand what I'm saying? So the answer is also what? Not this. So it will have result from a decrease in the price of what? Of beans. So that will be the end for the class on demand and supply.